welcome to this episode of Cosmos.chthonia. And today we're going to take a look at orbits pretty generally and broadly as a precursor to some deeper explanations around planetary orbits, some of the neat things that happen in the solar system. So today I'm going to turn this largely over to Fran. Good morning, Fran.
Hello, Michael, and everybody out there. Yeah, the theme of orbits, it's something I would say I like to look at it really heliocentrically because we are all our planets, including ours, is orbiting the sun and not the Earth. So therefore, I have that. It's heliocentric, and so that's also why I have been studying orbits and orbital points and things like that. And so I want to give you some overview of that. But first of all, you may think, yeah, orbit's okay, so never mind. But it's kind of like when you think about it, it's the path of a planet. Yeah, we in astrology we measure everything on the ecliptic, and what is the ecliptic? It's Earth's path, right? So for that, I always think, yeah, when we measure a planet when it orbits around the sun, but we have all data on the ecliptic. So we see how the planet actually interacts with Earth's path, and in this sense with ours. Yeah.
Exactly.
And for that, even though we always use the zodiac. We have that round thing, right? And all the planets, they go pretty round, at least until out to Neptune, right? And then things change. And when we include asteroids or centaurs, then we see, okay, that round is getting cut through pretty often, because there are those few main planets, and suddenly we have a planet that just comes boom through. Right. Totally another direction, and so we get this kind of heavy, or let's say difficult, cutting through energy from other planets that just, hey, we are here too, kind of thing. And we have to deal with things that goes totally against our normal kind of, we are now pretty comfortable with planets out to Neptune and maybe Pluto, and now suddenly we have something else, and we have to include what we actually do not really know.
Right. That was really hard for astronomers because it actually, on the discovery of Eris, then everything that was not a main form planet just got sort of put to the side. Which, like you're saying, everything out to Neptune, there's an even plane, and things make pretty well make sense. But then there's a whole world of newly discovered bodies and their actions and activities, which deviates from that plane, shall we say?
Cool. Yes, exactly. And I think we have, from all those inner planets, we have a lot of records from variation times. We have the mythology, and as an aid in interpretation. We have a lot, many millennia of observation that we can integrate into our readings and how to interpret a position or an angle and so on and so on. But with all these newly discovered planets, we don't really have that, right? So yeah, maybe there is in the mythology, if we would correlate it that way. But I also think we have the opportunity to, like astronomers, look at the orbits and see where are they really passing through, and how we can interpret where they cross, for example, the ecliptic, right? As that would be the nodes, right? But we have, these are only 2 points, but there are other interesting points that we can take into consideration and interpretation of what it could mean in the sense of interaction with the ecliptic and us.
Right. Just to take that back, you're talking about every body or planet having its own nodes, like we have the lunar nodes that astrologers commonly use in the geocentric astrology. You're saying every planet, and this may be a new concept to some people, but every planet has a north and a south node, where it goes into magnetic north along the ecliptic and where it goes into magnetic south, a north and south node. And beyond that, so that might be introductory to some people of that concept, but beyond that, you're saying every planet has an orbit with some specific points that you're going to detail for us, that we can get information from.
Yes, exactly.
Great.
It is, we have the nodes. So that's the crossing of the ecliptic. So it's at a 0 latitude. Yeah. But yeah, they go from the south, right? And so they come up, and it's the north node, and then they go up north of the ecliptic, and then they come back down and make the south node, and then back to their most southern point. So we have that those 4 points, and they are in this sense always perpendicular to each other. Yeah, so it forms a cross.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
And so you can when you think of an orbit, or you can think of it in terms, it's maybe easier for people. You can compare the north node to be like an ascendant of the planet with the ecliptic. Yeah, so that would be like the ascendant, and then the most northern point you could compare with an MC. And then you have the descendant, and then you have the IC, and so you have those points with their meaning in interaction of the planet's path with Earth's path. So we can give that meaning, but it's also you can see in astronomical data, you can see these most northern and southern points. They are the inclination of orbit.
Oh, okay. So how far from this plane around the sun of the ordinary planets, how far north and south they go? The most northern point, and the most southern point, which may be different from the furthest and closest point. We may be dealing with
Yeah,
very
yeah,
eccentric orbits. These give a data that we can derive from what we know of astrology,
yes,
reflection in meaning in daily lives.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
great.
We can see what the meaning. I mean, yeah, what is an MC and an IC, and so I call that like that is more like a polar axis, and the nodes, yeah, is more like the equator.
Right. And it changed very slowly over time, but it would stay very stable for long enough to really get an idea about a period of time. So where a
Yes,
discovery chart for a planet might be another place where you can look at a discovery chart and get some good information. This is
yes,
more like present moment, real time, what the planet is doing, not when it was discovered, but really we're like, you're
yes.
talking about how to derive archetypal meaning from
Mhm.
astronomical data, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Please continue.
Yeah, and so and for our viewers, because I started with these researches quite some years ago, and I started somewhere, and then other things came, and it's it's for me also. It's not finished. So
Mhm.
I'm still going on, and then suddenly I think, okay, now I have that, and then I just get, oh, but there is more.
Right?
So
I
and
think
then I,
I think studying the universe is always sort of a work in progress, you know?
yeah, it's totally,
I
it's
wouldn't
kind of
trust
never
anyone.
ending story. Yeah. So
Right, the never-ending story. Oh my gosh, a great movie, great book.
yeah,
But yeah, I
yeah, it
wouldn't trust
is.
anyone who said they had this all figured out and here's the data. No way. So thanks.
It's just at one point you start, and then yeah, there is more and more to come. um yeah, and so there is these other points, what you just mentioned before, Michael, that closest and furthest away from the sun. This is perihelion and aphelion, and they, in some cases, they do change much faster
Mhm.
than the crosses. Yeah, I call them the
Right.
crosses. The crosses, it's those uh, uh, nodes and
Yes.
most north and south. Yeah, that I
Right.
call the cross.
Right.
And
Right. Like, yes.
yeah, and aphelion and perihelion, they move much faster often with those planets than the nodes. So
Right.
it has another, let's say, we could say it's influence. It has to do with influence. Yeah. But it when you when you think of a planet comes close to the sun, yeah, it's more influenced by the sun, but it also influences the sun as well in
Mhm.
this
Mhm.
sense. And
Mhm.
you have the same in the other direction. So
Mhm.
you can think of knowing what planets are near, so where they influence each other, or who is influencing each other in this sense more out there, or give some kind of new ideas in, yeah, because those outer regions,
Mhm.
they are not so busy or not so much influenced by the sun as from other stuff like we talked last time, yeah, about interstellar space for some of the planets, or the Kuiper belt as an example. So it's total different type of influence that we would get from there, and same time they bring the influence from the sun out there. So it's a connection in this sense.
Right. There are astrological connections. Studying like geocentric birth charts, I can assure you that when Haumea or Makemake or any of these tiny little bodies pop up in connection with someone's angles, someone's luminaries, someone's relevant in someone's chart, that their lives or personalities reflect this. It's
Yes.
we can see this. So just to unpack for people who might not be familiar with the terms perihelion and aphelion, peri is the closest, and ap is the furthest point, halion referring to Helios, our star. But when we talk about the moon's orbit, it has an apogee and a perigee, which is the closest point to Earth and the furthest point from Earth, appa being furthest, para being closest. So I just wanted to unpack the terminology for people who may not be familiar with some of that astronomical verbiage. That's all.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so I have, as an example, Haumea. We can. I have drawn the orbit onto a star map, so we can look at that. But we will. In another episode, we will actually dive much deeper into Haumea's orbit and unpack it, not only from a heliocentric viewpoint, but also from a geocentric viewpoint. And so I hope we will see you there too. But now I show you that little drawing I made. So we have the blue line in the middle represents the ecliptic. We have that purple line.
Like an arc, yeah. It's a line, but
is representing the galactic equator. The green line is representing the celestial equator, meaning Earth's equator, so out, expanded out, yeah. And
that's right.
this white line here, that is Haumea's orbit. And we can see here on the green line, yeah, we have here the crossing of the Earth's equator with the ecliptic, and that's when then this node does appear, and this means we have an equinox. Yeah. So we have them on both sides, as we know, in Pisces and Virgo, right? So, and we have the same with the galactic plane, the galactic equator. It crosses here in Gemini, and it crosses here in Sag. Voila. Yeah. So those are the galactic nodes. But now we look here at Haumea. The white line here is Haumea's pass. And I should start over here. Yeah. Coming from here on this map, from Taurus, going up into her north node here. in earlier Cancer, and then goes up all the way to her most northern part, just here, up here in the constellation Bootes. So you see here, that would be the star Arcturus, and here is another quite bright star in Bootes, and will then descend down through Serpents, Ophiuchus, back the Serpents, and then all the way here, crossing the galactic equator, and with the little constellation Scutum, and then down, and obviously her descending node in Capricorn, and then goes further down here through these southern constellations, going south of Aquarius, then crossing through Cetus, and then having her most southern point here in between the constellations Cetus, and that bit here belongs to the constellation Eridanus. And then she descends up here and then cuts, obviously, logically, opposite of Ophiuchus. We have in the southern sky, we have Orion. And so she comes in here at the shield of Orion, a bit south of Bellatrix, and she actually is conjoining. You would see that on this other side here. I'm sorry, I don't have another map where you can see that together. That's the problem with flat maps. So you would see her here conjoining very closely with Betelgeuse. So this is her orbit. And so we can see here, there is this moving, flowing style, yeah? And I think that's very, very important, because there are some type of, let's say, waves that are formed. And when we look at that, we think only in this round way, yeah, of an orbit, like we think of in a chart, yeah, we think it round, and here we have it opened, yeah, and so suddenly we see waves, or a serpent, yeah, or a spiral.
It is very serpentine.
Yeah,
A
you
spiral,
suddenly,
of course.
yeah, you get another view when you look at it this way, and you can also see how they interact together. Like here, the celestial equator, and here Haumea's orbit. It looks kind of it flows together. Whereas when you look at that galactic thing, it kind of seems to be different. It makes another form, another harmony.
Yeah. Another thing it does is bring in some of the northern and southern constellations that aren't always astrologically relevant, because, well, I want to say we do have star data. Like if you go to the classic works on star data, like Brady's Book of Fixed Stars, we have data about Arcturus in natal charts. We have data about Arcturus in Paran, which I'm not going to detail if you're not sure what Paran is. That's Paran. Look it up. And we have detail about Arcturus as a parent rising star. So we know what energies it has when it's right on the horizon in the east, just, in a nativity, what kind of effects that life and personality show. But here, we're sort of incorporating, just to give that example of Arcturus, which if you could show, that's kind of at that
Yeah,
northern
it's
wave.
here.
Yeah. And I don't know how close it comes, but we're just bringing in an astrological influence in a way unlike the ways they're usually used and interpreted. So in a way we have the data, but in a way we're just starting to look at things in like an expanded dimensional space.
Yes.
And and it's all very interesting from the point of view of these eccentric orbits. This bypasses Pisces. It just never goes through Pisces. Like, so if you look at
No,
it along the ecliptic, it will be, when it's down in Cetus, it will be in Pisces, but it's not in Pisces. So we have to,
no, it's not.
develop more
Mhm.
nuanced understanding of these.
Yeah,
So
we
yeah.
have when it goes in let's say the region where a planet is at his nodes, near their nodes. Yeah,
Mm,
there they are most likely to be in those, let's say, host constellations, zodiac constellations. But then it depends how steep they go up and down. Yeah, then we actually see them going into totally other constellations, right? So
mm,
we only have here this area where we have those host constellations, and on the other side here with
mm.
Cancer and Gemini. Yeah,
It
but
looks like a pretty thin slice, relatively.
yes, yes, it is. It is. And you see here they go through Leo. Yeah,
Mhm.
but that's just because Leo, the lion is going is quite north of the ecliptic a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so because of that, many planets actually go here through the head of Leo. It's very interesting, but that's a topic for another time. So
Mm,
that is very significant, and so we get very different view onto the path of a planet and how they may interact actually with us when we try to incorporate the mythical meaning or interpretation of stars and other constellations.
yeah, it gets pretty complicated pretty fast. And a lot of this could resist some like standard interpretations, like traditional, just kind of two-dimensional along the ecliptic longitude kind of way of thinking. It could easily deviate from that because we're seeing these deviations. So it gets very complicated when you start to deal with ecliptic or with inclinations to the ecliptic that are eccentric in an orbit. So we're talking about the orbital plane of the main form planets, and then we're talking about eccentric orbits. And we can't just think of eccentric orbits as like, if here's the plane, we're just doing this in a repetitive fashion, but it's like a flower, like all around, all over three-dimensional space. These more dwarf planet or centaur, comet, just minor bodies, they're that we just have to think about things differently.
Yes,
We can't
yes,
think anymore. The thinking of
no,
on the planets just go in circles. That is really old, outdated thinking.
yes,
I encourage
exactly,
everyone to
exactly.
look up models of the way the planets move, because on YouTube now, if you just go to the spiral orbit of planets, you'll see a lot of great animations. I especially love the animations of DJ Sadhu in this regard. I just happen to. And you see these great animations, and it's a vortex. It's a spiraling vortex moving through space. So even And this, I just want to open this idea and then leave it there. But even our own system, is not like perfectly stable, and that seeming plane of orbit it's really a complicated spiral through space. So.
Yes, it is. It is, but that's I think is the possibility we have when we look at that. We okay, we leave the comfort zone and we kind of open that, let's say, that closed up idea of the zodiac, and we expand. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we still use it, of course, but because it relates to our own past. It describes the path around the sun by Earth. But
Right.
Also that when we open up, as you just said, we are in a spiraling motion as well. And so is the whole solar system. And when we open that idea of it's not this closed up system, but it's an interaction of many aspects within life, and incorporate that, which is maybe which incorporates, let's say, the higher mind or soul or spirit or the universe or God or however you want to call that, right? So
Sure.
we open up to other realms, let's say, like that.
I think you could literally say that you're opening up astrology to other dimensions, because
Yes.
we're used to looking, many people are used to looking in a two-dimensional astrology. And one of the things about, I mean, we have sort of coined it kind of very loosely, like deep astrology. This show is deep astrology and beyond. But one of the things that makes it deep is that it's a return to that sort of ancient kind of real world, real sky thinking, not easy models for grade schoolers. But in Sumer they observed the planets, or at least the moon, which was very important to them, to move through, if I'm not mistaken, Auriga, Orion, and possibly Capella was the star. Well, without getting into details, they had 18 in Sumer, in ancient. That's the mother culture of Mesopotamia. They had 18 star groups, and they knew there were only 12 asterisms, or the main star groups. But even Taurus, they divided the Pleiades, and they had all these understandings of star groups. The Pleiades wasn't just a Taurian function, it was its own sign. And so all of this star data and all of this correlation between planetary movements and stars has always been relevant forever. The dimensionality of it beyond the ecliptic has always and forever been meaningful, and part of this is the deep roots of it. So it's been a really awesome dive, and we're going to get deeper into this material in the future.
Oh yes, we will.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that. So I hope everybody will be fascinated. I mean, this was just an overview, a little bit of an explanation, so you can already prepare your minds for it.
Yeah, it does. It takes. You have to develop a little bit familiarity with the sandbox you're playing in. I mean, this. I feel like a pretty smart person, but when you introduced a lot of these concepts to me and I started to research along these lines, it was challenging. I was challenged to get my head into this new dimensional space. So yeah, a lot of patience with the process. I recommend to anyone out there who's just like, oh wow, I want to do 3D astrology, but that's intimidating. Just small bites and stay with us and keep practicing with it. And anything to add to that, Fran?
No, I think you summed it up.
All right. Well, cool. Well, thanks everyone for staying with us. Join us for more episodes of Cosmos and Chthonian. Join us on Patreon. Join us on Patreon. We'll put the link on the screen. And we'll see you for more deep astrology and beyond. Ciao.
Also from me, I wish you all the best, and I'm so looking forward to see you in the next one. So till then.